Welcome to my YouTube channel and Facebook page, Husantal from this end. Today I will discuss themes of novel Middlemarch written by George Eliot. She was born in 1819 in England and died in 1880. So let's start. First theme is imperfection of marriage. Most characters in Middlemarch marry for love, but this marriage is imperfect. Miss Dorothea married with Mr. Casaubon for love, but due to age gap and difference of interests, marriage was failed. Mr. Lydgate and Miss Rose marriage was also not ideal marriage because it was marriage of haste and shallow aims. Lydgate did not love Rose while she wanted high lifestyle. When it was not provided, she was disappointed. Mr. Bulstrode, both marriages were marriages of convenience. First marriage he made for money. Second marriage he made to settle in Middlemarch. Here we also see Miss Dorothea and Will Ladislaw's marriage of love, Fred and Mary's wedding. But again, Mr. Chatham marriage is also a compromise. So none of the marriages reach a perfect fairy tale ending. Second theme is the harshness of social expectations. People of Middlemarch are judgmental. Rose and Lydgate face rumors, while Will Ladislaw and Miss Dorothea also face criticism. So we see in Middlemarch society, individual has no say. Except Miss Dorothea, nobody have courage to go against society. Other theme is responsibility and mistakes. It is major theme of Fred's story. He became responsible, but before this he made a lot of mistakes, like choosing wrong subjects, having debts. We see Dorothea made mistake by choosing life partner Mr. Casaubon, but she learned by her mistake. We see Lydgate and Miss Rose marriage was a mistake because they made it in haste. So Middlemarch society became responsible but after committing so many mistakes. Prejudice. Prejudice is theme of novel. Mr. Lydgate, Mr. Bulstrode and Mr. Will Ladislaw cannot seem to beat. People in Middlemarch dislike all the people who are outsiders. Mr. Lydgate did not find acceptance as a human as well as a doctor. When Fred was given wrong treatment by a native doctor, it was not questioned. But when Mr. Raphael died, people suspected him that he helped Bulstrode to kill him. At last, he left Middlemarch and settled in London. Mr. Will Ladislaw was also outsider. He was not welcomed. He also settled in London with Miss Dorothea. Mr. Bulstrode was not native of Middlemarch and was evil, but in Middlemarch he proved himself a responsible person. He did not kill Mr. Raffles, but only made his death faster. His wife, Mrs. Harriet, forgave him, but no pardon was given by other natives. So we see prejudice is a prevailing theme of novel. Unity of Middlemarch. The decisions made by every person in Middlemarch has effects on other persons. Like Miss Dorothea's decision to marry Mr. Casaubon leads Sir James to choose Miss Celia, although at first he wanted to make marriage with Miss Dorothea. Mr. Fred Vincy makes marriage with Miss Mary Garth. Mr. Fairbrother is left alone because he wanted to make marriage with Miss Mary Garth. Mr. Bulstrode's dirty deeds disgrace Mr. Lydgate and Mr. Will Ladislaw. Social expectations. It is another theme. Middlemarch had a social expectation that what people should do and what they should not do. Middlemarch society expects Miss Dorothea she should live like proper widow, and if marries again, the man should not be Will Law because he was outsider. Mr. Lydgate and Miss Rosamond faces gossips and rumors. Mr. Bulstrode was also not meeting social level, and all the people who go against social setup of Middlemarch they faced problems. Money and greed. Money and greed is the most prevailing theme of the novel. Most of the characters of the novel are in search of money. Few characters have greed of money, as well as Mr. Fred Vincy. Mr. Lydgate need money to meet their needs. Mr. Chatham, Mr. Bulstrode, and Miss Rose have greed of money. Mr. Chatham has a lot of fortune, but he wanted Mrs. Kazaban share for son also as a heir if she does not marry. Mr. Bulstrode gathered money by doing evil acts, even spent money for doing evil acts. Mrs. Rosamond Vincy have greed of money to get a lavish life, so we can see the story revolves around money and greed. Another theme is self discovery. There are certain truths which characters discover in the course of time. Miss Dorothea married Mr. Kazaban thinking she loved him, but later she discovered that it was just a wrong decision. In fact, she loved truly Mr. Law. Mr. Law left Middlemarch saying goodbye to Mrs. Kazaban, but came back after discovering that all his happiness was associated with Miss Dorothea. Miss Rosamond married Mr. Lydgate in haste. Later on, she discovered that the lifestyle which she wanted, Mr. Lydgate was not able to provide, so she was not happy. Miss Mary Garth refused Mr. Fred's proposal again and again, but at the end, she realized that only Mr. Fred is a perfect match for her. So, these were few themes which I discussed with you people. Till my next video, take care of yourself and ciao ciao.